All right, picture this. We're stepping into the dusty, shadow-filled aisles of a forbidden theological archive. Just imagine blowing the dust off a scroll that has literally been hidden from the world for centuries. Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to embark on a real historical detective story to uncover some lost, ancient wisdom. Today, we're investigating a mystery that challenges the origins of, well, absolutely everything we thought we knew. We're looking at a suppressed text that suggests the history of the universe didn't start the way we've been told. So let's dive right into this and uncover what might just be the greatest omission in human history. For thousands of years, humanity has basically believed that the biblical narrative begins with this single famous sentence. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? Most of us read this opening and just assume, okay, creation starts right there. But let's put on our historian hats for a second and cross-examine this text. Think really carefully about those words. In the beginning. I mean, the beginning of what exactly? Is it the beginning of time itself? The beginning of humanity? Or is it actually just the beginning of the story we were allowed to read? Because what if that wasn't the beginning at all? What if I told you there are ancient suppressed records revealing that creation wasn't just a single isolated event? You see, ancient civilizations often believed that monumental cosmic events happened long before humanity even existed. We're talking about massive battles between divine beings, the formation of complex spiritual realms, and the rise and fall of heavenly powers. Honestly, what if there was a massive, dark history of heavenly rebellion and cosmic warfare that unfolded before a single word of Genesis was ever even spoken? And that brings us to the core piece of evidence in our investigation today. It's a lost book that was actually feared for centuries, one of history's most controversial writings, the Book of Enoch. This ancient text acts as our suppressed witness to the events before Genesis. Now, it's attributed to a highly mysterious biblical figure, Enoch. According to Scripture, Enoch is completely unique. Why? Because unlike other biblical figures, he never actually died. He simply vanished. And this forbidden text claims to tell us exactly where he went, and more importantly, what he saw. Enoch's journey is a truly terrifying and honestly unparalleled personal voyage. The text outlines a very clear progression. First, he walked with God. Second, he was taken away into heaven itself. And third, he didn't just go there to exist, he went there as a witness. He was shown divine mysteries and events that happened totally beyond human understanding. He witnessed what existed before the world humans inherited. And let me tell you, what Enoch saw up there in the cosmos was truly shocking. According to these ancient traditions, way before human history began, the heavens were already teeming with powerful, divine messengers created by God. But not all of them remained loyal. Enter our primary suspects in this cosmic anomaly, a group of powerful angelic beings known as the Watchers. These divine beings desired independence. Some ancient traditions suggest their pride corrupted them, while others claim forbidden desires changed them. But the absolute crucial point is this. Long before humanity was even around to understand good and evil, a rebellion had already begun in heaven itself. So consider this startling chronological sequence. It really gives us a massive aha moment. Look at this. We begin in the ancient past with the creation of angels. Then we move into a pre-human era marked by the rebellion of the Watchers. Next is the before time, where heavenly prisons were actually established. And finally, way down at the very end, year 0. Genesis 1:1. I mean, this completely flips the script, doesn't it? It shows that the Genesis creation story, the one focusing on Earth and Adam, actually happens at the tail end of a long, dark, and complex cosmic history. Section 1. Architectures of the Divine. Enoch's visions of these divine architectures are just breathtakingly complex. He claimed he was shown enormous heavenly chambers, and get this, actual control centers where the stars were managed. But it gets darker. He saw massive cosmic structures that acted as prisons, constructed specifically for angels. He saw places prepared for divine judgment, reserved for beings who rebelled against God. Think about the implications of this for a second. It means that justice, punishment, and the battle between obedience and rebellion had already been fully established long before human beings even existed to commit a sin. The universe operated on divine laws long before we ever arrived on the scene. Section 2. The theological cover-up. Now, let's consider the core theological tension here. In mainstream creation doctrine, evil begins in Eden with the serpent, and Lucifer's fall is kind of vaguely tied to this era. But over in Enochian theology, we see an explicit detailing of the Watchers' rebellion, a dark cosmic war that began long before Earth even existed. The Enochian accounts of fallen angels created massive tension with mainstream creation theology. Why? because it completely shatters the idea of a perfect, peaceful creation event. It introduces a universe that was actually already fractured by war before Genesis even starts. And that brings us to a deeply unsettling idea. If evil was already present, if heaven had already experienced a rebellion, was the serpent in the Garden of Eden really the beginning of rebellion? Or was it merely the continuation of a much older war? This framework suggests that Eden wasn't the origin of evil at all. It was simply a brand new battlefield in a pre-existing cosmic conflict. Mainstream Genesis barely explains the origin of the serpent, but the Book of Enoch, it provides the terrifying backstory. So, as early church authorities and religious leaders organized the official biblical canon, texts had to meet strict, simplified standards. The Book of Enoch was ultimately rejected because it explicitly contradicted mainstream creation doctrine by just making it too messy. It introduced intensely detailed angel hierarchies that were hard to control, it revealed forbidden cosmic structures, and it explicitly highlighted a pre-human heavenly conflict. For those early authorities, these supernatural mysteries were simply far too controversial. They created way too many theological problems to be included in the official canon. They had to suppress it. Section 3. The Surviving Archive. But here is the dramatic twist in our detective story. Despite centuries of suppression, the effort to erase this text was not entirely successful. The text was amazingly preserved in its entirety by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. While the rest of the theological world essentially turned its back on Enoch, this isolated religious tradition safeguarded the lost wisdom. Thanks to their careful preservation, these pre-Genesis chronicles actually survived to the modern day, ensuring that this forgotten story of the ancient past was never completely erased from human memory. So let's summarize the massive, hidden ages of history that the Book of Enoch claims unfolded before the words "in the beginning" were ever spoken. We are talking about literal wars in heaven, the dramatic fall of highly intelligent divine beings, the establishment of a rigorous cosmic order and heavenly prisons, and the absolute rise of evil itself. All of this is a hidden history that predates the creation of Earth. It really forces us to realize that the story of creation might be far older and, honestly, far darker than we ever realized. Which leaves us with a profound final question. Does a pre-Genesis cosmic war alter your view of creation? I want to challenge you to consider if the mainstream Genesis narrative is actually missing the most important chapter of existence. Were ancient believers aware of deep cosmic truths that were later intentionally forgotten by history? Does the Book of Enoch change how you view the universe? Take a moment to really think about that, because unlocking these ancient archives proves that sometimes the most fascinating history is the history we were never meant to read. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the story you've been told.